The View is not long for this world, I don't believe. I think that ABC is desperate to get rid of this show if they could. I think Disney is desperate to get rid of ABC. I don't think that the new buyer who comes in is ever going to pay the salaries that you're talking about with Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and all of these women. I think that it is very important, perhaps, to Whoopi to keep her salary, or perhaps she's in contract negotiations right now. Maybe that's why she's being so quiet and all of a sudden mysteriously agreeing with Trump on things like, oh, well, we don't want criminals here in this country. But not everybody is in that same position. In fact, this particular moment really caught my eye because these women are taking aim at Karoline Leavitt, who happens to be the youngest press secretary ever. She's a smart, well-spoken, passionate believer in MAGA. And, you know, she's also fairly attractive as
suggestion to federal workers that they have to return to work. And if they don't, then they have the option to resign. And this is
But apparently the fact that she is attractive is something that caught Joy Behar's eyes in a way that is pretty kind of gross, right? Like, this is not becoming what I'm going to show you from The View. This show that is, in theory, about women is only about liberal women. And I'd actually argue they're not really pro-women because they're pro-athletes that were born as men but compete as women. Don't tell me you're pro-women if you're going to sit there and give me that one. All right, so she's now taking aim at Karoline because Karoline happens to be an attractive woman. Watch.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
Whatever, right? They don't respect her because she's an attractive woman. I mean, that was a really kind of low blow kind of comment. And really, I mean, if that doesn't get you fired, hon, I don't know what to say. It is really rather gross how they have carried on there. But, you know, they pretend they're all about women. Karoline said something about how the wokeness is done. It's over. Everybody's like, phew. Like, I can't tell you how many people I talked to that were like, gee, you know, I thought I was middle of the road. I used to vote for Democrats, but like it got so crazy with this woke insanity that I definitely voted for Trump because I couldn't take it anymore. Right? Between inflation, the border, somehow it's our fault that we're sending people back to Mexico or Colombia. And the woke police. So listen to Whoopi, who must have forgotten that she's in contract negotiations. I'm joking, I don't know if she is. But she forgot that she's gotten a warning by the producers in the back room, the slap on the wrist, knock it off, hon. She forgot about that for a split second, and she just launched this attack. Don't tell me these people are pro-women.
Oh. Yeah, I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason. Because black people couldn't get into colleges. Because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted our asses to make sure that this was a person's world. So please stop using that phrase you're talking about because you don't understand what you're saying. You're saying about yourself that, you know, hey, that's a terrible thing to be. It's not a terrible thing to be. That's why we fought. That's what we were fighting for, so that you could stand in that podium, so that Catherine Jean-Pierre could stand at that podium. So women of all kinds of colors and ilks, wherever they came from, whatever their belief system was, they had the opportunity to bust down that door.
By the way, I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. Okay. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first
So, look, guys, you see, that speech was designed to try and, give them a reason for being. We're here, we're all these women on The View, and because of us, like, we fought for this, that, and the other so that you can have that job. Okay, great. Well, guess what? That fight's over. Like, it's been won. Young women today, young girls, aren't like obsessed with, Kamala Harris is going to be the first female president. That's like my mom's generation, okay? It's not important to me. I mean, it's great. She's a woman. So what? So what? Can she do the job? Will she keep me safe? Does she have a clue on our economic policy, on foreign policy? The answer to those things are no, 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 no. So therefore, I don't want her as my president. Has nothing to do with the fact that she's a woman. You see, in a real meritocracy, you don't care if someone's male or female. You just care about who can get the job done. So Karoline Leavitt, stop, Joy, with your nonsense. You're just jealous because she's a heck of a lot better looking than you ever dreamed of being. Sorry. You see the cattiness comes out of me too. For someone like Joy Behar, she's looking at Karoline with so much resentment instead of respecting the fact that, you know what, we live in a day and age when your daughter can grow up to be whatever it is that she wants to be. I mean, your son, let's hope he's not competing against your daughter in the track team. That's a whole other thing. But you see what I'm saying. In a real meritocracy, you're not basing things on diversity, equity, and inclusion. No, you're basing it on merit. I tell this story, but one of the best things about classical music, and I have a classical music background, is that to this day, they still audition their musicians for, say, the New York Symphony or the LA Symphony behind a screen, behind a curtain. The violinist plays that violin behind the curtain. Why? Because they want to audition someone and make sure that they are the best at playing the music. And they don't want to be distracted by the color of someone's skin, whether someone's male or female, by their age, etc. That's fair. Of course, there's this whole movement in New York and in LA to say we got to fix that because we need to get rid of the curtains. You need to know if somebody's black because you need to make sure you put them in as first chair in the New York Philharmonic because we don't have enough black people playing in the orchestra. Don't you think you might want to address that at an earlier age? Like, when the kids are like 5 and 6 and maybe they're looking at playing the violin. That's when you actually need to be fixing things, not after the fact. You can't change things after and expect to have good outcomes. You can't put the worst violinist as the first chair at the New York Phil and think that the place is going to sound good. Everybody's got to be in tune, in time, and know how to play their instrument. This is why DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, is DOA, dead on arrival. It's partly why I started 76 Research. It's partly why Rob and I were like, this is getting nuts because you got Wall Street all obsessed with DEI. Forget about it. Like, you need companies that make profits, do you not? So go check it out. You can check out our model portfolios. We have 3 of them there. One is a resilience portfolio. It's all growth oriented, so you have more tech companies in there. Also, you have companies that should benefit from the AI rollout, but aren't actually AI companies like an NVIDIA, et cetera. So it's a really good way, especially with some of the controversy that's been going on right now. We also have an inflation protection portfolio, and we have an income builder portfolio because everybody wants to retire one day. So it was a big part of my incentive to start that company. I mean, also in addition to so many people saying to me, I don't know where to begin, I don't know how to invest. And I'm like, you got to invest. You just have to invest, because if you want to be able to have anything one day, the value of compound interest, it's extraordinary. And one of these days I'll walk you through the numbers, but listen, on average, I'm going to be really, really conservative. Markets tend to grow 7%. If you look at the S&P over a 20-year time period, around 7% you can expect. Well, the value in that is not just the 7%, but the compounding of that, because it just begets more and more and more and more. So that's my speech. Make sure you're investing. Go to 76 Research. Let us help there. Look at the model portfolios. If you want to get the 76 report, which is our newsletter, it's just $1 a month with code word dollar, DOLLAR.